Hi everyone, I'm Matt Joss, a longtime supporter of Strawman and friend of Andrew Page. With the upcoming launch of Strawman Premium, Andrew invited me along to ask him a few of the frequently asked questions he's been getting on the forums and via email. And yeah, I guess I'm big supporter of Strawman. Followed it for a while. I have a few questions of my own as well. We're going to be asking about how Premium works. What is a member reward scheme? What does that mean? The meetings, and who it's for and who it's not, among a lot of other things. So I guess to kick off, Andrew, just keen to hear how it's gone. You've just announced that you're launching this. How's the response been so far?
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Great to have you on board. So, we announced the launch of Strawman Premium last week. We've been absolutely blown away by the response that we have received. Huge numbers of people have pre registered, which is fantastic. At the same time, we've also got a lot of questions, and we thought that the best way to address them was to have a bit of a video discussion. And we're going to do our best to sort of lay it all out for everyone so they know exactly what we're doing and why.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And I guess to kick off, I'd be keen to hear just a bit of the background journey. We've talked about this a bit. I haven't asked you this directly though. I've watched Strawman from many years ago when it was just an idea in your head and you were about to kind of quit your job. I think you'd already sold your house a couple of years prior to invest everything in the market, and now you're quitting your job to pursue building this community. And it, I mean, from the outside, it looks like it's gone amazingly well. You've got tens of thousands of people sign up. I guess what's that journey been like? How's it all gone to get here today?
Yeah, it's been a hell of a journey, but so far a really satisfying one. Look, the problem that we saw was that while there were a lot of great private investors that were out there, there was just so much noise and bluff and bluster and arguments. How did you cut through all of that noise and get to the good stuff? Moreover, how do you know who to trust online? Everyone out there on Twitter claims to be the next sort of Warren Buffett. Well, are they? So we wanted to sort of bring accountability, bring transparency to the online discussion. We didn't know if it would work, but it's clearly resonated. So since we opened the doors, more than 20,000 people have signed up for Strawman. But what's been really encouraging is that level of engagement has remained very, very high. So there's about 8 or 9,000 monthly active users. In the last week alone, we got about 100,000 page views, which is fantastic. But of course, it's all a bust if nothing good comes out of all of this. And what we're especially proud of, and we talk about it all the time, is the performance of the community. The Strawman Index, which just takes all of the most popular ideas, puts that into a sample portfolio and just tracks it against the market. It's done 30% compound over almost 4 years. And that includes a huge bear market last year with COVID. It includes all kinds of, the usual ups and downs. And it contrasts with a 10% return for the market. So it's not only outperformed the market, it's thrashed the market. And within that, we've had some incredible stock pickers emerge that have done even better than that. So it's clearly resonated. We're super proud of it, and it's gotten to the point now where we feel as though, right, we do have something special here. It's time to sort of get serious about it and take it to the next level.
I mean, it's a really cool community. You can just tell if you go to the forums or anywhere in Strawman, everyone's really, pumped about it. The kind of quality of people, I guess, that you've got and the quality of the discussion, which is quite rare on the internet. And I guess aside from being a builder, you're one of those community members as well. I don't know if you call them super contributors, but yeah, you're, I think, one of the top ranked people with some amazing returns. Yeah, I guess that's been pretty helpful when you're putting everything into Strawman over the past few years. Yeah, I guess what do you put that down to? Do you think that's an individual thing, or do you think that's part reflective of the community as well?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I've definitely made my fair share of mistakes. I'm sure I'll continue to do so in the future. But I think at the same time, it shows you what's possible when you take the share market seriously. And unfortunately, not many people do. And not just take it seriously, but put the work in. And let's be honest here, like investing well does take a lot of work. It does take a lot of discipline. But when you do the work, when you approach it with the right mindset, it can be ridiculously rewarding. So I think that's a big part of it. But I think really the main part of it has been surrounding myself with the right people like yourself and other friends that we've had sharing ideas, challenging each other's ideas. And that, again, is the big idea behind Strawman. We want to sort of aggregate all of these people from different backgrounds, different experiences, different approaches to the market, but just be able to sort of share in that thinking and get access to new ideas and to have your thinking challenged. And when you do that, and you do that in a spirit of collaboration and cooperation, really, really special things can emerge. So I think that's probably the main reason for the good returns, and long may they continue.
Yeah, excellent. And, you know, I think Strawman, you've created something that's really unique. I don't, maybe even in the world, but definitely in Australia. Like, there's not really that combination of, you know, real money portfolio that you can track, a high quality kind of fundamental driven discussion. And I guess I just see it being really different from other forums. You know, you have a lot of other forums, you have people ad hominem attacks, and in Strawman, you have kind of a more lofty discussion of fundamentals typically, instead of, you know, people trolling each other. You have a scorecard based on how engaged you are with the community. And yeah, I guess just can you hear, what do you think's been the main driver of that, you know, the community working so well? Is it one of those things in particular that's I guess driven the success to date, that's made Strawman different?
Yeah, the community is just awesome. What's behind that? I think there's a few factors. The first is the way that we try to structure the conversation. So it's really great to get stock ideas from people, but on their own, they're not particularly useful. What you really need to do is to understand the thinking that's behind it. What's the investment case? What's the investment thesis here? Why do you think this is a company that's worth buying or perhaps worth avoiding? What's the valuation? What's the assumptions behind that? I've always said that doing this is something, you know, you should do this for yourself, because it really clarifies your thinking, identifies areas of weakness, you know, gaps that need to be plugged. Super, super valuable. But it's also really important for other people to understand where you're coming from. And that just gives you so much of a deeper perspective on things, and just frames the conversation in a more constructive, more useful way. So I think that's super important. The other thing that I think makes the community really valuable is that we've just got such a diverse community of different people where we can leverage the collective wisdom, experience, intelligence. You know, people who have worked in mining for 20 years, people who have been in manufacturing, people who are accountants and know financial statements really well, people who have worked in retail, people who have worked in tech. I mean, that is an amazing a well of information to draw upon where is needed. No one person's going to be an expert across all of these different things, but collectively we are, and that, I think, is something that is really unique and really valuable. And the final thing I would say is, I think just from an emotional perspective, the community is very, very supportive. It might be to do with the fact that we all have these public scorecards, we all have our content voted on. It brings a certain humility to things, but it you know, when there are very difficult times on the market, you know, the community really rallies around each other. It's very supportive. Look at what happened in the COVID crash last year, 30% fall. Terrifying kind of scenario to have to invest through. And when you're by yourself, that can be a very daunting experience. But when you are surrounded with people who have the right mindset and are able to identify these things for what they are, which is huge opportunities that don't come along that often, it really directs your focus to where it needs to be. So I think when you add all of those things together, it just leads to something really special. It's a big part of why we've done so well, and it's why I think we'll be able to continue to drive really great outcomes going forward.
Okay, so we're here to talk about Strawman Premium. We've had a huge amount of questions that you've had come through. Everyone's read the overview that you sent out. I think the biggest question by far is the structure. So you just talked a bit about, you know, how everything that's made Strawman great. What are you trying to do to kick it up a notch with Strawman Premium, and why did you choose an investment club structure versus, you know, a forum or a social network, or, you know, financial advice in like a newsletter format? Why did you go with an investment club as the approach?
Yeah, well, I know it sounds like a branding exercise, but I fundamentally believe this to be true. We've put so much thought into it and gone round and round in circles, but, you know, an investment club is the way to go. You know, what is a club? It's just a collection of people that have common interests and that share a common goal. And that's exactly what I want this thing to be, namely a passion for investing and a focus on, managing our own money well and delivering market outperformance. That's what we need to be about. The trouble is that when you look at all of the various other models that are out there, they just, I mean, let's be honest, they're all pretty grubby. It's all about, he whose bread I eat, his song I sing, as Charlie Munger is famous for sort of saying, is that as soon as we start monetizing by partnering with stockbrokers or with investor relations firms or with you name it, our focus is removed. We have perverse incentives, we have conflicts of interest, and we remove our focus from where it needs to be, which is delivering, as I say, exceptional investment returns for our members. So look, I don't know how many royal commissions we need or, people's own direct experience. How grubby it is that's out there. And you and I, Matt, talk about this all of the time. So we thoroughly believe that this is the best model. This is that just keeps our interests perfectly aligned and keeps us focused on what matters, which is delivering exceptional outcomes for our members.
Awesome. And I guess, how does that work on a practical level? So what's the difference with an investment club versus what Strawman has been doing so far?
Yeah, well, so in a lot of ways, it's not going to be too different from what it is now. I mean, the Strawman platform will be our clubhouse. That's where we're going to be sharing ideas. That's where we're going to be discussing ideas. As I said in the email, if you want to follow proven investors to get great ideas, that is the place to be. So we definitely don't want to interrupt what we've got going on there. But just owning this idea of an investment club, we really want to kick that up a notch and take it to the next level by doing these monthly online meetings. We want them to be live, we want them to be interactive, and we want them to be really meaty and full of a lot of good value. So it's going to give us an opportunity just to connect in a way that we never have before, to discuss some of the new and more exciting ideas that are emerging on Strawman. But one of the things I'm most excited about is that, look, I want to give our members the kind of access that industry insiders get all the time, the sort of access that analysts and fund managers get. We want to be able to invite CEOs along for companies that we're interested in investing, and we want to grill them. We want to look them in the eyeballs. We want to understand, what is your strategy for this business? How does it work? We want all of these questions answered. And as well as I do, Matt, that these meetings are so incredibly valuable. It just gives you such a unique insight that most retail investors never get the chance to have. So we're really excited about that. But more than just that kind of access, we want to invite a lot of our favorite investors along, much as you would if it was a podcast. There's lots of really great professional and private investors out there. We want to bring them along. We want to ask them about their view on the investing landscape. We want to pick their brains on some of their favorite investing ideas. What are your highest conviction picks? I'm sure we'll get you to come along to one of these meetings, Matt. And we just think it's going to be immensely valuable. And we're going to do it, as I say, every month. They'll run for a couple of hours. And frankly, I think this alone sort of justifies why you would want to go premium. And we think it's just going to give anyone who's serious about managing their own money, it's going to give you a serious edge.
I mean, I think this is, at least for me, like for investing nerds, I guess like me, this is like the killer feature. Like, I just love that idea. We started as individual investors before we went pro, I guess you'd say, became professional investors. And I think that access to management is by far the hardest thing to replicate as an individual. So the fact you can kind of put them in front of people and, get their questions answered will be really helpful. And I guess, what is that, some of the questions that had around that on the forums and email, I think was, I guess, how do you see it going? Like, I think you mentioned a couple that you had lined up. So maybe any hints on what that might look like? And
yeah. So we've gone ahead and scheduled the first one for August the 13th. We've got 2 CEOs lined up. One of them is from a company that I think a lot of Strawman members are going to be quite familiar with. A lot of our members have made a lot of money on this company. Potentially, there's still a long way to run. That's one of the things that we want to find out. So really can't wait to pick the brains of that particular CEO. The other one is from, relatively speaking, a really small company on the ASX, but one that's got some really interesting technology that seems to be doing pretty well. And we're keen to find out exactly what the future may or may not hold. So we're keeping our cards close to our chest. All will be revealed after launch, but I think you're going to really love those two guests. And on top of that, we've got a couple of really smart investors, some of my favorite investors out there. They're going to give us, as I say, some of their highest conviction ideas. I also want to spend a bit of time in this first meeting just framing out how these meetings are going to run. We're also going to try and do a bit of education as well. So it's going to be chock full of value. We understand that not everyone's going to be able to make it. That's fine. As with all of our online meetings, we're going to do a couple of things. One, we're going to telegraph it in advance, of course, and allow you to submit any questions that you may want us to put to management in advance. So if you can't make it, at least your questions can be addressed. We're also, of course, going to record it as well, so you can catch up afterwards. And we understand too that a lot of our members are very time poor individuals. We get that. So if you don't have the time to watch the meetings or catch up with them afterwards, I'm going to collate all of the big ideas, all of the main insights that arise from these meetings. I'm going to put that on the members only section of the website. We're also going to send out an email, so you're not going to miss anything. But yeah, I'm really pumped for this first meeting. I think our members are really going to love it.
No, that makes sense. I think that was another question. So you took that one off already, is what happens if you can't make it? I think that's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Okay, looking at what else people had sent through. And I mean, another big one, why are you restricting membership? So I think you mentioned only 3% of all Strawman members you expect to allow into Strawman Premium. Why are you looking for such a small group?
Yes, so we definitely got a lot of questions about this one. Look, Matt, there's two very good reasons for it. The first is a practical consideration. We firmly believe that the best opportunities on the ASX are at the small cap end of the market. They are under scrutinized. We're not competing against the big research houses. It's really just other retail investors. That's the area we think we can have the biggest edge. It's also, almost by definition, the area that has the most upside. It's the area that Strawman's demonstrated serious form. So we really want to focus our efforts here. The downside of this part of the market, and the reason why all the big players stay away, is that there often isn't much liquidity there. So it means that if there was too much capital chasing these opportunities, it just drives the price really high before anyone's had a chance to build any decent kind of position. And if ever people wanted to exit that position, we'd all be potentially rushing for the exits at the same time. So we need to keep it tight. And this was really important to me as someone who's going to be a member of this club. I do not want to miss out on the next Pointera just because we decided that we want the club to be full of thousands and thousands of people. So that's really important. The second reason is, if I can be frank, is that we just want to maintain a really high standard. As an investment club, we're only as good as the members that are part of our community. And we know, let's be honest about it, this is not going to resonate for the majority of people. We want to make sure that we've got only the most serious, the most engaged investors, the ones that are going to drive the best outcomes. Frankly, when it comes to a lot of the negativity, the tire kickers, the troublemakers, the pumpers, the trolls, all of these bad actors that plague, so many different corners of the internet. We don't want to dilute this thing that we're trying to create by just having it to be this thing that's as big as possible. And frankly, it just makes sure that we can keep the discussion and our analysis really tight, really focused. At too big a scale, it just becomes noisy. It just becomes crowded. It becomes really difficult to be productive. So for that reason, we're going to keep it really, really tight. And I think that's what's going to help us drive these really great outcomes.
And so how do you filter it down, I guess? How do you decide who can and can't join?
This is a really interesting one, but my firm view is it's actually going to be self-selecting. When you put a membership fee on something like this, you're automatically going to get rid of all of the people who don't see any value in what we're trying to do. And let's be honest, I think that most people won't, and that's fine. There's no judgment there. That's absolutely 100% okay. But for those that recognize the value of what we're doing here, that want to collaborate with other really successful, experienced investors, that want access to this inner circle and to talk to CEOs, etc. Those that get it and that are prepared that see the value in that and prepared to pay a membership fee, they're likely to be the exact kind of investors that we want. So we think it's probably going to work out pretty well.
And this isn't a question I don't think that Strawman members ask, but just for my interest, I guess, if you're, creating a small kind of exclusive group, how do you, I guess, make sure if it's an investment club versus a forum, how do you make sure that the club members are, contributing insights that are useful to that small club?
Well, we've already shown on Strawman that we've got lots and lots of investors that are prepared to contribute, that are prepared to share their ideas, not as some act of charity per se, but because it offers them immense value for all the reasons that I've already outlined. So I'm pretty confident that we're going to get a lot of great ideas being shared. That being said, I mean, let's be honest. There's a lot of research, a lot of work that goes into finding market-beating ideas. The really great investors spend a lot of time going through financial statements and company announcements and annual reports and all of these kinds of things. So we want to make sure that we attract and retain the best investors. We want to make sure that we really incentivize high quality content creation and recognize and reward those people that are creating the most value for the community. That's what this whole member reward program is about.
I mean, yeah, that sets up well, because there's another big question I think that we'd seen come through. I think you're going to dig into this more later on, but yeah, what could you share about the member award scheme? I guess how do you see that running?
I'm so excited about this. This is something that is entirely unique. We're actually going to allow private investors to, in a sense, monetize their intellectual property, which is something that no one else is doing. And it took a huge amount of work. I won't bore you with the details. But what's allowed us to do this is this really, we've partnered with this really cool company called Upstreet. And they issue what's called fractional shares. So I can actually give you $1 worth of even CSL shares. And they handle all of that award program. And what we do is that each month we have this monthly award pool, and it's going to be pretty significant. And we're going to break that up proportionally amongst our members in relation to the value that they're creating. It's very much based on the community rank that a lot of our members will already be familiar with. So as you know, this isn't just looking at performance, and performance is really important. It shows you, the quality of your investment ideas. And it's not just a short-term thing. We're looking at performance over 3, 6, 12 months and beyond. But it's also looking at how well your content has been received by the community as well. How many likes are you getting on your straws and on your valuations? How good are you at participating? Do you vote on a lot of the other content? Do you help us moderate, peer review all the content that's out there? There's a lot of clever maths that goes on behind the scenes, but it looks at all of those factors. And it pro-ratas up this prize pool based on all of those things. The thing that I really love about it is that it's impossible to game. The only way you can rank well is by outperforming the market over multiple time periods and winning the adulation, praise, and endorsement of the community. And if you can do that, well, that's exactly the kind of member that we want. And there's no input from me or anyone else. It is measured relative to the market, and it is democratically driven by the community itself. So look, even if you just post 1 or 2 straws and get a few likes, even if you just manage to outperform the market, say over 3 months, you'll actually get a bit of an award. And so you should, you're adding value to the community. But for our top ranked members, the award is going to be really significant. I mean, you're going to be in a net positive position at the end of the year, more than cover your membership fees, as it should. For those people that are creating the most value, as I say, we want to attract you, we want to incentivize you, we want to reward you. And for everyone else, it just means that, I guess it's also something to aspire to, but it also means that you can have a great deal of content, a great deal of confidence that you're going to see all this wonderful ideation, all this wonderful content creation, and it just helps us maintain this wonderfully high standard and just aligns the incentives of everyone. It points everyone in the right direction to make sure that we're all focused on delivering value for each other and for the community.
I mean, I think it's very unique. It's literally no one else has done that or doing something even close. And you talked a bit about Strawman premium being quite exclusive. How do you see that working for people that aren't as active? Do you think there's a role, I guess, for less people that aren't able to contribute as much directly to the community? Maybe they're working in a high-powered job or something. They don't have as much time to kind of give to analyzing stocks, but they might have other insights. How does that person fit in?
So we got a lot of people voice this concern. They're really excited to be a part of Strawman Premium, but their worry is that they will not be able to contribute as much as other people, either because they're time poor or because they're at an earlier stage of their investment journey. And I genuinely get that. I really do. So there's a few things that I would say. The first is that, like any club, we're going to have a wide spectrum of contributors, some that are time poor, some that have a lot of time, some that are more junior in terms of investing, some that are highly experienced. We know that we're going to get more than enough capable, experienced, savvy investors to drive exceptional returns. So what really matters to us, if I'm being brutally honest, is that we want people who have the right attitude. Yeah, sure, people that want to surround themselves with other smart investors, that want to stand on the shoulders of giants, that want to get new investment ideas, but also those that want to develop themselves as an investor to continue to evolve and refine their skills. That's what matters. And frankly, I think that's true no matter what your starting point is. You could be the most capable, experienced investor in the world, but you can always get better. I'd like to think today I'm a much better investor than I was a few years ago. And my hope is that in a few years' time, I'll be a better investor than I am today. And by surrounding myself with the right people, I hope that they will help lift me higher. They will help me on that journey. And I hope that I can help other people on that journey. And it sounds a little bit lovey-dovey, but that's what the community needs to be about. It's about having people that are prepared to engage in that way and to continue to evolve, because as we get better collectively, we get better returns, and that's what it's really all about. So the other thing I would say too is that you're actually contributing quite a lot if all you do is just vote on the content of other people. You don't have to be the person who is originating new ideas, new research, new valuations. But if you've just got the time to vote on the content of others, as I said before, it goes a long way to ranking and peer reviewing and moderating our content. If someone pitches a stock idea that you think is really compelling, well, add that to your Strawman portfolio. That helps our ranking. That helps determine the Strawman index, and that is hugely valuable. So people will contribute to different degrees relative to the time they have, relative to the experience that they do have. So let me be really clear here. This is all about people who share in the vision of Strawman Premium, those that are wanting to engage in good faith and with mutual respect, those that just want to become better investors and help other people become better investors. If that is the kind of person that you are, then we would really welcome your application to Strawman Premium.
Excellent. And another question that was quite big is on the forums is, you talked a bit about the experience for people that are joining Strawman Premium. What will happen? Is there still going to be an option for, free users on Strawman? Will they still be able to access the site, or how's it going to work for free users?
Yeah, Matt, I've always been committed to the idea of leaving a part of Strawman for free. We don't want to take too much away from people. At the same time, though, we are unapologetically really narrowing our focus onto premium. This is the future of the community. But look, it's not going to be for everyone. No, not everyone's going to be able to join. And if that's the case and you do elect to remain as a free user, you're still going to get tons of value. You can still trade the market with your Strawman virtual portfolio. It's a wonderful tool to gain experience with live prices and to build up a bit of a track record. You're still going to be able to post straws and valuations. They will be private, but it allows you to use Strawman as an online investment diary. And for all the reasons I've discussed, I think that's a very valuable exercise as well. You'll even be able to see the valuations and the straws of our premium members. The difference is that all of that content is embargoed for a month. So although you will see that content, it will be delayed by a full month. So we're obviously going to prioritize our premium members in that regard. The biggest difference is that you will not be able to see the constituents or the trades of the Strawman Index and of our premium members. That is going to be restricted to premium members only. I understand that a lot of people see a huge amount of value in that. hopefully that is another argument as to why you might want to come and join us over at Strawman Premium. But even if you don't, I think given that it's free, you're still going to get a huge amount of value if you choose to stay as a free user.
Yeah, excellent. Just looking through what else. Someone asked, when's it launching? What's the timeline for the launch?
Right, so we're going to start accepting enrollments from the 31st of July. We will keep enrollments open for 3 or 4 days or until we hit capacity, whatever comes first. Like I say, we have received a huge amount of interest. So your best bet at this stage, if you've got any interest whatsoever, is to go to the website and pre-register your interest. That will give you priority access to when we do launch.
Exciting, man. It's getting close now. Okay, one last big one. How much is it going to cost? How are you thinking about pricing?
Yes, so this was easily the biggest question that we got, and it makes sense, right? Obviously, people need to know, and people will know. I'm not trying to be difficult here, but the truth is that we're making a pretty radical change to Strawman here. And I really wanted to make sure that we had the chance to lay out the what and the why and to really articulate the value proposition here without that being pre-framed or without having people anchored on the price right at the beginning. So we are going to disclose the price in the coming week. Before you make a decision, you will know what it is. But my hope is that now, having listened to all the information that we've presented, that you're actually able to make an informed decision and put the price in context. Another thing that I will say is this, is that when we, for the inaugural launch, we are going to be offering pretty discounted membership fees. They're going to be far lower than what they will be after launch. So if you've got any interest whatsoever in what we're doing, you need to pre-register. It gives you priority access, but it also means that you've got access to what's very likely to be the lowest membership fees that we ever offer.
Yeah, I mean, very exciting times. I think you've blown everyone away with the success of Strawman from a few years ago to now. I have no doubt the investment club will be a success as well. So I look forward to joining myself. Yeah, thanks for inviting me along. Is there anything else you wanted to run through before I hand off?
I think we've covered all the main points here. Keep an eye on your inbox. We'll send more details through in the coming week. You can also email me at admin@strawman.com. We've gotten a huge number of emails, so please be patient, but I'll do my best to get back to you as quickly as possible. Other than that, I would just say that, listen, we've put a huge amount of thought and focus into this, and I fundamentally believe that this is the right move for Strawman, and we are building something here that I think is really unique and really special and is going to deliver some really valuable outcomes for our members. And I'm just excited to get on with the job of uncovering some really exciting investment opportunities and just having a bunch of engaged, self-directed investors that are going to join me on the next stage of the journey. One that I hope will be very rewarding and very profitable, but also I think will be for people who love to do their own investing, one that will be really engaging and really fun at the same time. So super pumped, super excited, and can't wait to get started.
Excellent. Thanks, Andrew, and best of luck for the launch.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Great to chat.